Took a little time off to relax, and I have a feeling that he'll be right back in the winner's circle. Boy, those seniors can play some golf. Meanwhile, let's move back to Tucson, Arizona. Tom Baker, opening shot, left-hand lane, game number 2.
And Baker threw 2 practice balls on lane 16 and left the TV pair, went over to the practice pair, got another ball, came back, and as we see what he averaged this week, 211.
Well, he was smiling earlier today.
Of the TV show at 32. Anyway, came back and got this ball and threw right through the nose, first practice ball, and then got a strike, and he starts the game off with a 2-4-5-8. Tough spare.
Not the way you want to start with a tough cross-alley spare.
And 8 out.
You can see the look in Baker's eye, too. He realizes that at this point in time, he doesn't have a very good reaction with that bowling ball. What's he do now, Mike?
Pray?
Yeah. Pray and then punt, right? Well, I'll tell you one thing. Marc McDowell is pretty well lined up, shooting .266 in the opening game to defeat Marshall Hollman.
And he's a strike machine right now.
That's got to be a pretty depressing feeling as you sit on the bench and you watch your opponent stand up there and just absolutely drill the pocket.
And folks at home get a view of what we're looking at here, Denny.
You know, this reminds me of one of those films when you're on the airlines and you see the pilots taking
yes,
off. It's back on the throttle there. Hey, the way things have gone lately, maybe we should become pilots, Mike. Marc McDowell on the left-hand lane. Wants to take advantage of Tom Baker's open. And meanwhile, Baker has gone to the practice pair and picked up yet another bowling ball.
Maybe if he throws both of them, he can keep up with this kid. I'll tell you.
Mike, how in the world can you look at a guy like McDowell who's just killing the pocket, and then Marshall Hollman and Tom Baker are struggling to hit the pocket? Why does that happen?
Well, because right now he's making very good shots right over that second arrow. Plus, he's going straighter. We can see the trajectory, if I can say that word. It's just down and in, where these other guys are looping the ball out and back in. And right now, they're fishing.
That's tough, though, when you've played most of the week, a certain angle, a certain speed, that type of a shot, and then all of a sudden you have to kind of change up when you get to the finals.
Well, what happened is they came out of the practice balls, and they started throwing the ball, and they were getting what they call, as he shoots the 610 and makes it, a very good reaction at the back end of the lane. The ball was going down the lane and hooking very hard at the back end. And then as the players bowled for about 20, 25 minutes there, that oil started to carry down the lane, and the ball wasn't hooking back quite as much. And there's a little adjustment there, and there's a little, what they call in-between time with the lanes there. And they get a little flaky, and sometimes the guy that goes down and in has the better shot then.
Baker looks for his first strike of the match, and that one's a little wide as well. We've got a washout, so the left-hand lane, a real mystery right now for Tom Baker.
Well, he's not close on either lane. Both lanes are a real mystery to him right now, and he's going to find himself so far behind in 3 frames here that it's going to be sayonara unless he does something in an awful big hurry.
Well, it's kind of amazing, too, with Baker. Probably his biggest asset is his ability to change speeds, I think, with the bowling ball. And you can see how slow he's throwing it. He's trying to get the ball to hook back. It just doesn't want to make it to the pocket.
He's not lined up right on this left lane. The left lane is tighter. He's going to make that. Oh, as it goes right around it.
Well, that's the worst break he could possibly get. He mustered a great shot there to try and pick the washout, which would keep him in the match. And, boy, you're going to see a depressing sight here. Watch the headpin whistle right around the 10.
Textbook way to do it. Only the bad break where that headpin wraps right around the 10 pin. And there's almost nothing as infuriating as that in the sport of bowling.
Yeah, leaving it is probably enough to get you a little hot under the collar. McDowell looking for a turkey here to open match number 2. Well, last week we watched Leno Monticelli just kind of move right through the field. One gets the impression that Marc McDowell may be headed to that title match.
Well, sometimes, you know, folks talk about destiny out here on the PBA Tour a lot, and when a guy comes roaring up the way he did last night, and seemed to be out of it, as Rod Pasteur started that last game with 7 in a row against him, but Marc hung in there and got the strikes when he needed them, shot .269 that last game to win, and then .260 against Marshall, and right now he is zeroed in. 9 strikes the first game, and first 3 this game. There's that loft again.
Well, the only way to stop him now is to lasso him and tie him up. And Tom Baker's probably thinking about doing something like that. It's a 57-pin advantage thus far for Marc McDowell, who was perfect through 4 frames. There you see Tom Baker. He'll have a couple of moments to ponder his future and come up with something quickly, because this young man is red hot. Meanwhile, it's time for Tom Baker to get lined up and throw a strike.
Well, he's moved further right on the approach, and right now he's just making big moves instead of little ones. He moves way in or moves extremely out. He's moving, it seems like 5 boards almost on the lane, and he needs to find that happy medium somewhere in between as he looks completely confused.
You know, your whole life, Mike, obviously you know this, it has to pass right in front of your eyes when you get on the pair in a championship round and you just can't figure them out.
And you can't make a spare either. Now watch in this shot here as Tom is playing right around the 2nd arrow. In the last shot on this lane, he was close to the 3rd arrow. Throws it out over that 2nd arrow, and the ball goes out further right, even down the lane, and that's dry right there. And it hooks way too quickly right through the heart of the pins in the 310. Needs to find something in between. He just cannot find it. That slow speed, he cannot get lined up to hit the pocket right now, and I'm telling you, I've never seen a guy 68 pins down after 4 frames before, but if Tom could end this match right now, he would.
I know what you were going to say. There's a first time for everything. And, of course, Tom Baker, as he smiles, was, I should say, the 1981 and 82 Steve Nagy Sportsmanship Award winner on the PBA Tour.
There's not a finer sport on the PBA Tour than Tom Baker. I've never seen him get angry in all the years he's been out here and that I've been out here.
Frustrating at this point. Meanwhile, his cohort, Marc McDowell, is just throttling the pocket here in Tucson.
And what McDowell needs to do right now is to keep that intensity up, because I mean he's got this game well in hand and won, and not to let down on that intensity. As the ball goes out a little wider this time, comes in behind the headpin, and we can't see it, but that 6 just doesn't quite get out of the channel in order to get that 10 pin.
How tough is it, Mike, getting back to the psychological aspect of being way ahead so quickly in a match? How tough is it to keep your timing and your intensity?
Well, sometimes it is tough to keep that intensity, because you've got the match won, and you have a tendency to let down on that inner drive. We'll see the next match more than this one.
And if you're